Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to another awesome episode of On the Throttle with Jackie Van Ham and my buddy Josh Trokey out here, bringing you all of the breaking news going on out here in motorcycles and power sports. As always, we've got a doozy of a show for you, Josh. I have got all sorts of chatter and talk about the BMW GS, and I also have a really fascinating interview today with Troy Snyder, who is the VP of Digital Retailing at Trader Interactive, the parent company of Cycle Trader, about what they've got going on over in their neck of the woods. Josh, what do you have going on for today's show?
So I like the confusing start because if it's about a GS, people think I should be talking about it, but you're taking it. I like this. Keep them guessing. Always keep them guessing. That being said,
I like to mix it up.
KTM has found a place to put yet more orange on one of their motorcycles, and Honda took a page out of Suzuki's playbook. So we're going to talk about what that is.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear those stories, but we're all going to have to wait after this word from our sponsor.
For all of your motorcycle ATV and UTV oil requirements, be sure to run Pen Grade 1. The unique base oil cut utilized in the original green oil and the enhanced levels of anti-wear additives provide strong protection while reducing internal friction for increased horsepower output under the most demanding conditions. Pen Grade 1 is proud to be made in the USA.
Cycle Trader, the nation's top marketplace for buying and selling motorcycles, just got even better. In the ever-expanding digital world, online shopping only continues to grow. With Cycle Trader's new digital retailing experience, Cycle Trader Buy Now, consumers can buy their next motorcycle 100% online, meaning the richest leads in the industry for dealers with faster closing and reduced overhead. Learn more at www.cycletradermediakit.com/buy-now. Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So, as I mentioned at the top of the program, my first story for today is everything having to do with the BMW GS. That's right. This past week, there was a lot of GS chatter floating around because BMW at their factory in Berlin produced the 1 millionth BMW GS. Can you believe that, Josh? 1 million of these beautiful bikes. Since 1980, BMW has absolutely been setting the bar for the adventure folks out here with their beautiful GS bikes. On the screen right now was their social media post about it, and they are showing the newest 1250 GS in the triple black with the brass gold wheels. Super, super beautiful, of course. But you might be wondering why they are showing a current model when all of the chatter has really been about the next model that's coming, and that is the 1300 GS. Well, they did, at their launch, talk about this bike that's coming up as well. So let's go ahead and jump into this story. As I mentioned, they just celebrated their 1 millionth GS unit to come off of the production line in Berlin, and they went ahead and released a little nugget of information about where they are headed. These bikes have the latest edition of the now legendary BMW GS with the Boxer engine. The R1300 GS will be presented on September 28th, 2023 at the grand opening of the new BMW Motorrad Welt in Berlin. So they are also opening up a new Motorrad World in Berlin as well. So to coincide with that exciting opening and that awesome museum that's going to be happening, that is when they're going to be launching this brand new 1300 GS. This is also the 100 year of BMW Motorrad anniversary year. So there is just a ton going on over in BMW land. Now, there has been sneak peeks, guesstimations, spy photos floating around the internet for the last handful of years. But as we get closer and closer and closer to this model being released, these bikes are looking much, much, much more production, and they're becoming much more easy to spy out in the wild. These photos on your screen right now are actual pictures of a production/pre-production, however you want to say it, 1300 GS. And we can see that a couple of different things are happening on this new model. The first thing that, of course, people are going to notice is the front end of this bike. It is quite different looking than the previous generations. It has that beak in the front. You can see that the headlight appears to be in that actual beak in the front. The gap, the big space above it, seems to be like that is where a radar would live. These do have the adaptive cruise technology. BMW's had this on their motorcycles for several years now. It is always kind of a square looking configuration in the front. So we are guesstimating that that is where the radar is going to go, which means the headlight probably is going to be hiding in that front beak, which is quite different for this model. The second thing that's going on in the very front is it does appear to be an electronic windshield. This is a big deal. The GS has never, ever, ever had an electronic windshield. It has always been hand crank. The thinking is if you do take this bike off-road, you do lay it down or you do knock it down and you break that windshield. If it's mechanical and it's just a couple of pieces of plastic, the damage isn't quite so intense or it is easier to repair. But it does appear that this is now going to be electronic on the front end. A couple of other things that the spy photos have revealed, I don't have a picture for it, but you're just going to take my word for it, is on the right-hand side handlebar, there is a small triangle and alert in that mirror. So we are also assuming that this is going to have some rear radar, that is going to have that rear radar blind spot detection going on as well. There is also a handful of specs floating around because there have been several homologation documents already out here in the wild. We have homologation documents from Sweden. I believe I saw some other homologation documents that were in Australia, and it appears that the horsepower is going to be 143.5. The torque is a 109.9. Top speed is registered at 140 mile per hour. The wheelbase is 59.8 inches. Overall length, 87.1 inches. The laden weight, which includes a passenger and I believe some gas in that tank, is 738.6 miles per hour, or 738.6 pounds. But I'm going to touch on that again in just 1 second. The front wheel is a 19, the rear is a 17, and of course the braking is ABS because BMW has been doing ABS brakes on their machines for 500 million years since ABS was invented. The certified vehicle approved data from Sweden shows that laden weight at 738.6 includes the bike with accessories and a rider weighing 165 pounds. If we dissect that Swedish number, this is only like a pound or two heavier than the current model. However, this is where it gets interesting. The Australian documents that have been floating around on the internet actually translate that to being about 20 pounds lighter than the current model. So we're all going to have to wait and see because that is an absolute conflict of information, but it's very fascinating if this bike is really going to manage to be 20 pounds lighter. That is a huge, huge deal. Right now, that bike hovers around 550 pounds, which is pretty standard for anybody out here in the big boy space of adventure bikes. So to knock 20 pounds off is quite a big difference. So we're all going to have to wait and see what that number really looks like. But that's what's going on for this bike. And as they are saying, it is going to be launched in September. I am very curious about what is actually really going to happen with this machine because it is going to have that 1300cc Boxer engine. There is some other speculation floating around that this very well might be the first entirely liquid-cooled Boxer engine GS floating around or that has been released. So we're very curious. We're going to have to wait and see what that looks like. I also am curious to see about this weight spec and see what that looks like. And the last thing that I'm curious about is that BMW, as I mentioned earlier in my story, is celebrating their 100-year anniversary with a huge party in Berlin that kicks off next week. Will one of these mysteriously be wandering around at the BMW International Motorrad Days? I'm not sure. It seems like that would be a pretty cool opportunity to have one of these just kind of loosely floating around like they did with the XR at the Isle of Man TT earlier this month. But again, we're all going to have to wait and see. But the definitive launch for this will absolutely be in September as well. Josh, what do you think about this story?
To me, I mean, this is the year for BMW to do this. This is kind of their flagship bike. I mean, when you think of a BMW motorcycle, it's either this or the big K series. Those are what you go to. So for this is what BMW BMW, this is their moment. It's their 100th year for them to release this. There is some interesting stuff that I see that still looks prototypish on this bike, but like you said, it does look very, very finished. I'm pretty sure this isn't the GSA, because like the first thing that I saw when I saw those photos was that low exhaust. I thought, boy, I would make that exhaust very loud the first time I took it out someplace, because I would just pull it right off via a tree stump or a rock or something like that. But overall, I mean, it's still, the other thing that I like about it too is it's very GS in the fact that if you lined up all the different models of GSs over the years, it's an evolution. It's almost like what Porsche has done with the 911. There's not a huge change from one year to the next. It's taking something and refining it over and over and over and over again. And that's why that bike is so great. So to me, I mean, this is their moment. I'm going to let them shine. This guy needs to dress for the slide more than the ride, though, because the high tops on the high tops and jeans, maybe not, but yes,
those are, yeah.
That
Just
to me,
FYI, those are. I can already. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say, to me, overall, this is BMW's moment, and they should rock this.
Yeah, so I was going to say for certain, because if this is a prototype pre-production model, this is something that works for BMW. This is 100% their DOT, or it's not DOT, but their ECE 2205 or whatever the rating is for apparel. This is their riding shoe. This is also going to be their armored riding jean to go with that jacket. This is part of their more casual lineup. But yes, these are I would almost, I mean, call it what you will. I love technical denim and I love riding shoes. I own both of several of those pieces, so I'm here for it, especially when it's warm out. But anywho, all jokes and conversations about apparel aside, this is 100% somebody that works for BMW, so they are 100% in BMW top to tail gear. And so this bike, I'm super curious about this. Again, I'm curious because it's got almost 20 more horsepower than the current model. Woo! 145 horsepower on an adventure bike? What? Even though you and I both know the majority of these bikes live their lives out here on the tarmac and out on the highway, because they're excellent for that as well. They only spend a tiny little bit of time in the dirt, I think. But anywho, that's what's going on with the BMW GS. Very exciting stuff. 1 million of these sold. This is clearly bread and butter for the folks at BMW out there. Kudos, congratulations, and everybody that is headed to the BMW International Rally. Have a great time. Gute Reise and viel Spaß. Now, Josh, what do you got going on for your first story today?
Mine's over in Austria instead of Germany. So KTM has decided that they were going to release a version of, finally, that this has been asked for a long time, their hard enduro version. So this bike is based off of the 300 XCW. That is what the base it uses. So KTM has gone through and added a number of things to it that typically your hard enduro rider is going to add to these bikes. So it basically comes factory with all the stuff that you're probably going to want on it anyways. We've talked about other manufacturers allowing you to customize your bike for stuff like this. This is kind of KTM's a little bit of a step in that direction. So there is a ton of orange anodized bling on this. And I saw the list that KTM has, and you can see it in this photo right here. Even the oil cap is an orange anodized bling piece. The other big thing, the other orange thing on this, the frame is orange. KTM has traditionally had that black or silver kind of color. This frame is orange also. Now, this has a ribbed Diamante seat, so it is that hard enduro style seat. There is factory frame protection on it. This uses DID wheels. There are front and rear pull straps on this that you can even see in this shot here, because in hard enduro, it is called hard enduro because sometimes you're riding the bike, sometimes the bike is riding you. That is why those have those straps in order to do this. This bike is going to be available starting July. There are so many more people getting into this type of event, and enduro really has started to take the world by storm because you've got these personalities like the Billy Bolts and the Graham Jarvises and those types of personalities driving a lot of this. I remember, before, if you were looking to get in the dirt, it was always just a dirt bike. You had your SX, your KTM, your Kawasaki KX, the Honda CR, the Suzuki RM, the Yamaha YZ. It was just your dirt bike, and that was what you used for everything. The manufacturers are finally making more and more specialized stuff because they realize more and more people are going out into the woods instead of going to the local track. A lot of people still at the local track, but there's a lot of people going out into the woods, and that's what these bikes are set up for. Like I said, this bike is going to be available in July is when they're saying this is going to come out. Like so many other things that KTM does, unlike other manufacturers, they have not put an MSRP on it. I'm going to put this probably slightly less than a 6 days, than a 500 6 days, but we will have to wait and see. It's got a lot of tasty bits on it from the factory. It's got a lot of the stuff that you're going to add later on, so I like it. I would like to add one to the garage. I don't think the budget's going to allow it right now, but this is something I'd put in the garage. I'm pretty sure you would take one of these also too, Jacqui. I mean, if nothing else, I think it would look great in the living room.
I'm so sorry. I was busy wiping the drool off of my computer.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Look at this ultimate two-stroke sex machine right here. That is absolutely stunning. What an incredible looking bike. I am just gobsmacked. This is so, so incredibly cool. Yes. I mean, you know me, I'm rarely at a loss for words. But yeah, I want one. Sign me up. Yes, please. Yes, please. And you know, I love to see some two-stroke smoke out here. So I am all for this incredibly cool bike making its way to the market. Heck yes, from me. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, Josh. I now know exactly what I'm going to put on my birthday wish list. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So my second, very good call. My second story for today, I had a really, really interesting conversation with Troy Snyder, who is from Trader Interactive, the parent company of Cycle Trader. We talked about a very cool new product called Buy Now, which makes purchasing a motorcycle as easy as ordering a pizza. But first, we've got a word from our sponsor.
The road can throw a lot at you, but you can depend on Heidenau Tires to see you through it. Quality, made in Germany. For more info, go to HeidenauTires.com.
So thank you so much to Heidenau. Now, Josh, I have got this awesome interview. Let's go ahead and check it out. A really great conversation about buying motorcycles 100% online. Well, welcome MPN fam to the show. My very special guest today, I've got Troy Snyder, who is the VP of Digital Retailing at Trader Interactive, joining us today. Welcome to the show, Troy.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. So I wanted to pick your brain, Troy, because there is so much going on out here in the motorcycle and power sports space with the buying and selling of bikes. It has just been a roller coaster past several years out here. If you are not familiar out there watching at home with Trader Interactive, this is the great big huge parent company that runs Cycle Trader, which you should definitely know what Cycle Trader is. But for those of you that maybe have been hiding under a rock and don't know, Troy, can you talk us through a little bit, just real quick, of kind of the history of Cycle Trader and Cycle Trader as it is now digitally?
Absolutely. And Cycle Trader, like many print publications of the past, has gone full digital. And Cycle Trader today is the largest online marketplace for new and used motorcycle listings for units for sale. And this is from private party folks like you and I that are trying to sell their motorcycle out of their driveway, for instance, and all the way to the largest dealer network that exists online. And today we have over 200,000 units for sale in one convenient marketplace. So that's what Cycle Trader has become over the years.
Wow. I mean, I knew this because Cycle Trader is just synonymous with the buying and selling of motorcycles to me. I'm a woman of a certain age who I have definitely looked through the pages. That's right. In the Wayback Machine, kids, there was pages of Cycle Trader and have looked at and bought motorcycles for sure. But now, as you're saying, it's all digital and there's over 200,000 units for sale at all different levels. I wanted to also chat with you a little bit. We were talking before the show started about a new offering from Cycle Trader called Buy Now. Can you tell us all a little bit about what Buy Now is?
Yes, absolutely. So if you can think about Cycle Trader, biggest marketplace online, it's traditionally been a shopping mechanism where we connect buyers and sellers together, and we have facilitated that communication. And now with this new product we've released called Buy Now, we have extended that shopping experience to be a full transacting capability, also called digital retailing. So before, where we would see consumers finding units that they're interested in, and they would reach out to a dealer, we would make that connection, and that was really the end point of the marketplace. We've now created the full ecosystem from shopping to financing to a complete purchase capability, all online from the convenience of a buyer's home.
Wow, that is super fascinating. Does this Buy Now only apply to dealerships?
Well, so the way it's set up is any dealer that's interested in activating the capability of transacting online can go into their listings management system that we have set up for them, select the units that they would like to activate for Buy Now. And when they do that, what comes to life is a full purchase platform. So think everything from trade-in valuation to incentive selection to delivery setup to optional coverage F&I products to financing. We have literally digitized every step of the purchase process and made it seamless, kind of click, click, done, just like Amazon. But we're doing this with motorcycles today.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible sounding. I'm sure dealerships must be really excited to be part of this because it seems like this makes it so much more seamless. Like you're just delivering up customers and the financing gets all sorted out. This seems like a perfect one-stop shop solution, which I think we've learned that as a trend, especially from COVID time. People want just the one-stop shop. They want to order cars and bikes and things and stuff like we order pizza, right?
That's true. We're all consumers, whether we're buying from Amazon and paper towels, but that's true for buying vehicles online as well. And automotive has been our crystal ball for the power sports space. So we have been studying and learning how they have been enabling this capability online, and we've built a very similar platform. And at the heart of this was flexibility for the dealer themselves. We knew we couldn't force some purchase platform on every dealer. We had to build this so that they could participate at whatever level they were comfortable at as well, because the product entails things like the first ever signable, uh, penny accurate buyer's order online. So that requires the onboarding of the dealer into the product, but that also ensures that these transactions are penny accurate, includes taxes, titles, and fees down at the jurisdiction level. This is truly an accurate transaction done completely online. And that convenience is also applied for the buyer at home. They don't have to commit to a full purchase online. In fact, most buyers won't go the full distance online. They will exit at certain point. There are certain depth of commitment, whether that's at the financing stage or placing a deposit or signing a buyer's order. Wherever they would like to exit, we allow them to take what they've done, take it into the dealership, finish it there if that's what they like. Or again, they can do everything online from trade-in to financing, paying with cash, placing a deposit. That's what we've built this product to do.
That's a lot of great information right there, Troy. Thank you so much for taking that time to talk to us about Cycle Trader and this new buy now offering from Cycle Trader. We appreciate your time. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
So thanks again, Troy Snyder at Trader Interactive, the parent company of Cycle Trader, for the awesome chat. Now, Josh, what do you have going on for your second story today?
This is kind of an interesting one. So like I said, Honda has taken a page from Suzuki's playbook. And what I'm talking about here is with the CRF 450 RL, because I'm all about the dual sport stuff and all that other stuff. And Honda, what they are doing is absolutely nothing for the next year. Honda has released a number of models right now that they are saying they aren't even changing the graphics on. And with that being said, so when we look at this here too, you will see that the next model that we have coming up that you can see on the screen here in a moment will be the 450 RL, and it is the new Suzuki, the 2024 Suzuki DRZ. The DRZ will be available with bold new graphics, as Suzuki has told us for the past 24 years. Honda is keeping the graphics the same on the 2024 450. Now, that being said, I did want to make sure that there is a story in this, and that story is what I want to tell. So the interesting thing about this is when you look at this, is I've got some specs here. This is all being confirmed for next year, and Honda's blatantly said, we are changing nothing. Suzuki said, hey, we've got bold new graphics and new colors for you on both the DRZ 450 or DRZ 400S, the SM, and the DR 650. So the CR 450 RL will next year be priced at $10,099. There's another like $380 destination and freight fee on that. The DR 650 is $7,099. The DRZ 400S, which is the dual sport version, that is $71.99. The DRZ 400 SM is $78.99. Now, the only differences between those two bikes are the brakes, the wheels, and the swing arm, and the front forks. But I looked into something interesting in this, because everyone complains about that the DRZ, how is this still a $7,199 motorcycle in the DRZ S? So when the DRZ came out in 2000, it was $5,349. Corrected for inflation, that is $9,637.29. So the DRZ is still a steal, even though you're getting 20-year-old technology. Now, the one thing that I will say on that one too is that there are many countries now that the DRZ is not available in next year because of the fact countries like Australia are mandating ABS on all motorcycles. And Suzuki's like, nah, we're not putting it on this. It's been around for 20 some odd years. So it will not, the DRZ is coming to an end in a number of countries. So that being said, if you want to get your hands on one, go get your hands on one. There's still a really good deal. But I thought, like I said, I thought this was kind of interesting looking at the CRF. The CRF has been a great bike. It is, I mean, very much at the top of its class, especially for the price point where it's at. It doesn't get quite the recognition that I feel that it deserves, but I found it interesting that Honda's like, no, you know what? We're going to sit on this for a little while and see what happens. I think it's interesting, and I thought it was worth pointing out. What? I mean, are you surprised by this, Jacqui? I guess that's my big question.
I mean, I kind of am. Honda really is a master at like reinventing the wheel and updating the anvil, as you like to say all the time. So I'm a little surprised to hear them just be like, "Nah, we're good. We're all good here. We're just gonna let her keep on cruising on through." I'm a little disappointed that there was no additional 10 horsepower adding bold new graphics added to the current year. That's a bit of a letdown, I'm not going to lie. But that's hilarious. Thank you for the best non-story story happening today out here, Josh. I can always count on you to keep it lively out here on the program.
It's what I do.
Thank you so much.
That's what I do.
Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. As always, you can go
Nice.
check out some of these stories and a whole lot more over at our parent website. There's tons of awesome articles over there for reals. We are breaking news left and right over on that website, and that is motorcyclepowersportsnews.com. Thanks again to today's show sponsors. We've got Heidenau, we've got Pengrade, and we have Cycle Trader Buy Now. And thank you to Troy for jumping in and being our very special interview for today. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week. Ride safe.